The planet Vorlax 7 was burning. Its skies, once a calm swirl of green and blue, were now torn apart by streaks of fire and smoke. Alien cities, proud towers of crystal and metal, lay in ruins. The Draxian horde moved across the surface like a tidal wave of destruction. They were merciless. They had already conquered several colonies, leaving nothing but ash and echoes behind. The surviving leaders knew that today would determine the fate of their civilization. Commander Lyra stood atop a jagged cliff that overlooked the central city of Vorlax 7. Her eyes were fixed on the horizon, where dark ships filled the sky. Her long silver hair blew in the acidic wind, but her expression did not waver. She had faced the Draxions before, but nothing prepared her for the scale of this attack. "We have to make our final stand here," she said to General Kaelor, her trusted second-in-command. Kaelor's face was grim, his battle-scarred skin telling stories of countless wars. "Our fleets are shattered, our communications are silent. We might be the last hope for the colonies." Kaelor nodded slowly. "We've done everything we can. The men and women are ready, but without reinforcements, this fight may be our last." His voice carried the weight of fear, though he tried to hide it. The soldiers prepared as best they could. Alien weapons hummed and sparked in the twilight, and defense drones whirred, scanning for incoming Draxion ships. Lyra moved among them, giving words of encouragement. She knew morale was fragile. Fear could spread faster than any enemy fire. From the sky came the first attack. The Draxion ships dove down like predators, releasing torrents of plasma energy. Cities exploded under the onslaught, the ground shaking as buildings crumbled. The defenders fought bravely, but every minute brought more destruction. Lyra's heart raced. She could see children and civilians fleeing to shelters, but even there the explosions followed. The aliens had no mercy. Their goal was simple: wipe out all life, leaving nothing behind. Kaelor shouted orders as ships fired back. "Hold your positions. Protect the civilians. We cannot retreat." The alien fleets tried to form a defensive perimeter, but they were badly outnumbered. The Draxions pressed harder, their movements precise, almost mechanical. As the battle raged, Lyra's mind kept returning to one question. Had anyone received their distress calls? They had sent messages across the galaxy calling for aid, begging for help, but silence answered each time. Lyra could not understand why. They were a peaceful coalition, known for trade and diplomacy. Surely some civilized world would come to their aid. Yet nothing came. The alien soldiers began to tire. Their shields flickered under constant fire. Some of the younger pilots, inexperienced in such massive battles, began making mistakes. A single misfire could cost a ship and the lives aboard it. Kaelor moved among the fleets, giving orders, recalibrating defenses, and personally taking control of a fighter when one of the younger pilots panicked. His presence brought a small wave of confidence, but the situation was desperate. Lyra looked at the sky again. Smoke and fire stretched as far as she could see. The Draxions were advancing, not slowing. They had already captured key energy stations that powered the city's defense grid. Without those, the remaining fleets would be blind and powerless, and then a faint signal appeared on their long-range sensors. It was weak, almost imperceptible, buried under the chaos of battle. Kaelor noticed it first. "Commander, I'm picking up something strange. Not Draxion, something else. Massive energy signatures approaching at incredible speed." Lyra's eyes narrowed. "Explain. They're not ours, they're new, unknown, but they're huge. Thousands of ships all moving in perfect formation." Kaelor's voice trembled slightly. He did not know if this was hope or some new nightmare. The Draxion commanders noticed the disturbance too. Their attack slowed, confused. They scanned the sky with their long-range sensors, expecting another alien coalition. But nothing in their history warned them for what they were about to see. A deep rumble came from the stars. Not a weapon, not a missile, but something immense. The clouds above twisted and churned as hundreds of sleek metallic warships emerged from hyperspace. Their hulls shimmered in silver and blue, reflecting the flames below. They moved as one, precise and unstoppable. Lyra's jaw dropped. Could it be? Was this real? Her people had sent distress calls, expecting nothing. She had begun to accept defeat, but here, across the sky, a fleet appeared that no one had anticipated. The Draxions froze. Their commanders barked confused orders, unable to comprehend the sudden arrival. Thousands of ships moved like a single predator. The leader of the fleet, a massive vessel known only as the ESF Titan, came to the forefront. Its weapons charged and the energy shimmered across its hull, brighter than the Draxian cannons. Kaelor leaned toward Lyra, voice filled with disbelief. "Commander, it's humans. These are humans. They came for us humans." The Coalition had heard myths about Earth, tales of a primitive planet filled with strange, resilient beings. No one believed they could project power across the galaxy, much less arrive in such a timely and overwhelming way. Yet here they were, in full force, cutting across the sky like an unstoppable storm. The first wave of human ships fired. The Draxians thought it was just more energy, easily deflected. But the human weapons hit with precision that no alien ship had ever seen. Shields melted under their fire, and enemy ships exploded in dazzling light. The Draxian horde roared in confusion and anger. Lyra could hardly believe her eyes. The humans were not only powerful, they were disciplined. They moved to protect the alien ships, positioning themselves to absorb incoming fire. They covered the Coalition's weakest points, shielding the colonies like they had known this battle all along. A holographic projection appeared across the Coalition's communications channels. The human commander's voice, calm and commanding, filled the ears of every defender. "To the Coalition forces, stand strong. While we still breathe, none of you will fall. We are here." Hope surged through Lyra's veins. Her soldiers, exhausted and beaten, found new strength. The young pilots who had trembled earlier now focused, inspired by the humans' courage. Even Kaelor's hardened face softened into a rare smile. The Draxions tried to reorganize, but they were too late. Their formations were broken. Human ships moved in perfect synchronization, cutting off escape routes, isolating the enemy, and forcing them into chaos. Plasma cannons carved through enemy shields as if they were glass. Every human ship seemed to know exactly where to be, when to strike, and how to protect the innocent. Lyra stood on the cliff, tears welling in her eyes. After days of despair, after endless nights of fearing death, salvation had arrived. Earth, this distant, underestimated planet, had answered her calls. And they had come not as observers, not as diplomats, but as warriors. Fearless and precise, from the corner of her eye, she saw the first human landing craft descend, carrying soldiers directly into the battlefield. They were small compared to the massive fleets in space, but every human moved with confidence, coordinating attacks, rescuing civilians, and providing critical support to the Coalition's forces. The Draxion leaders tried to fight back, but their morale was shattered. Their confidence, built over decades of conquest, was crumbling under the relentless onslaught of an enemy they had never imagined. For the first time in centuries, they faced a species that did not flee, that did not panic, that did not tire. Humans were relentless. As night fell, the skies glowed with the fires of battle, now dominated by humans. The Coalition forces regrouped under their protection, and civilians began to emerge from shelters, awe and relief shining on their faces. Commander Lyra turned to Kaelor, her heart swelling with gratitude and amazement. "They came," she whispered. "We were abandoned. But they came," Kaelor nodded. "And they will not let us fall. Not today, not ever." Above them, the human fleet formed an unbroken line stretching across the horizon. Their presence was more than just military strength. It was hope, unity, and a promise that even the most hopeless battle could be won when humans were involved. And somewhere deep in the command bridge of the ESF Titan, Admiral Marcus Hale surveyed the battlefield calmly. His eyes flicked over the Coalition's ships and the remaining Draxian forces. He said nothing, but a faint smile touched his lips. The humans had arrived, and they would remind the galaxy why Earth's warriors were feared, respected, and never to be underestimated. The first day of battle ended with the Draxians retreating in confusion, the Coalition forces standing tall, and a new legend being written across the stars. Earth's fiercest fleet had come, not to conquer, not to claim, but to protect. And no one who saw them would ever forget it. The night on Vorlax 7 was alive with light and noise. Fires from the earlier battle still burned across the cities. But the mood among the Coalition forces had shifted. What had felt like hopeless despair now carried a spark of hope. Humans had arrived, and their presence changed everything. Commander Lyra moved through the streets with renewed determination. She could see the human soldiers everywhere, coordinating, guiding, and fighting alongside her people. Each human moved with a precision and confidence that inspired awe. General Kaelor followed her closely, his usual stoicism softened by admiration. "They fight differently," he said. "It's not just their weapons. It's how they think, how they move. Every action seems planned yet natural. Every human seems fearless. Lyra nodded, her eyes scanning the horizon where more human ships descended. They are unlike anything we have ever faced, or ever imagined. I feel safe knowing they are here. Above the planet, the human fleet stretched across the sky like a protective web. Hundreds of ships glowed with controlled energy, weapons ready but disciplined. Their formation was flawless, creating a barrier that no Draxion could easily penetrate. The Draxians, once confident, were now hesitant. The human arrival had disrupted everything. In the distance, a Draxion command ship tried to regroup its forces. It was enormous, a floating fortress bristling with weaponry, but the humans did not hesitate. The ESF Titan, the flagship of the human fleet, led the charge. Its energy cannons fired in perfectly timed sequences, dismantling the Draxian shields with startling efficiency. On the ground, humans worked alongside coalition forces. They helped repair damaged defensive systems, evacuated civilians from dangerous zones, and even taught the alien soldiers new battle tactics. Lyra watched as a group of human engineers adapted alien weapons to be even more effective against the Draxian invaders. It was an extraordinary display of collaboration, as if humans had anticipated every possible obstacle. Kaylor gestured toward a group of young coalition pilots preparing to launch. "They will need guidance," he said. "The Draxians have advanced tactics. Even our best cannot match them alone." A human officer stepped forward, a calm presence in the chaos. "We'll fly with them," he said simply. "Together, we'll make sure every pilot survives." The young pilots' faces lit up with hope and determination. For the first time, they felt they were part of something larger than themselves, something unstoppable. The Draxians launched a counterattack, sending wave after wave of smaller assault ships toward the human-led fleet. The humans responded with precision. Every ship moved as part of a single organism, flanking enemies, anticipating their attacks, and protecting the coalition forces. It was not just a fight. It was a display of discipline and strategy that the Draxians could not comprehend. Lyra observed from a high vantage point. She had never imagined humans could operate on such a scale, yet here they were, changing the tide of battle in ways that seemed almost impossible. She felt pride swelling in her chest, not only for the humans but for her own people, who had survived this long and now had a chance to thrive. The first major breakthrough came when the ESF Titan targeted the Draxian command ship. Its energy cannon struck with incredible power, breaking through the massive shields. Explosions rippled across the enemy vessel, shaking it to its core. The Draxian commanders were thrown into disarray, their organized assault collapsing into chaos. Seeing this, the coalition forces rallied. Alien ships that had been cornered now launched coordinated attacks, striking vulnerable points on enemy vessels. The humans guided them, calling out maneuvers and providing real-time strategies. The Draxians, who had expected an easy victory, now faced relentless resistance from both their targets and the mysterious human fleet. On the surface, Lyra led a team to rescue civilians trapped in a partially destroyed city. Human soldiers accompanied her, providing cover fire and advanced medical assistance. One young human, barely out of his teens, carried an injured alien child on his back, weaving through the rubble with remarkable agility. Lyra watched in amazement as humans risked their lives without hesitation. Their courage was infectious and her people's morale soared. Kaylor joined her, pointing to a distant hill where Draxion ground forces were gathering. "They may attempt a counterstrike. We must hold them here until the fleet can finish them in space." Lyra nodded. "Then we hold, we fight, we survive." The Draxians did strike, advancing in heavy armor and firing massive energy cannons. But the humans had anticipated this. Advanced human drones moved alongside coalition forces, creating shields and intercepting enemy fire. Alien soldiers, now inspired and coordinated under human guidance, held their ground against overwhelming odds. Hours passed in a blur of battle. The human fleet and the coalition forces moved as one, systematically dismantling the Draxion forces. Strategic targets were destroyed, enemy supply lines severed, and key positions reclaimed. The Draxions were being pushed back for the first time, unable to adapt to the humans' unyielding tactics. In the command center of the ESF Titan, Admiral Marcus Hale monitored the battlefield with calm focus. His voice, transmitted across all channels, was steady and commanding. Coalition forces, continue your advance. Keep civilians safe. Target Draxian leadership. Victory is within reach. The alien commanders, including Lyra and Kalor, followed his instructions without hesitation. For the first time in what felt like an eternity, they were not alone. They were part of a force that would not be defeated. As the battle neared its climax, the Draxians attempted one final desperate maneuver, a massive orbital strike designed to wipe out the remaining coalition forces. Human ships intercepted them with split-second timing, destroying the strike craft before they could fire. Simultaneously, ground forces led by Lyra neutralized the remaining enemy squads, using coordinated tactics learned from humans. The Draxians, seeing their final efforts thwarted and their forces scattered, began to retreat. Their ships fled into space, leaving behind a battlefield littered with wreckage but now free from imminent threat. Lyra stood amidst her exhausted but victorious people, watching as humans coordinated the final cleanup, providing medical aid and repairing damaged infrastructure. She felt a profound sense of gratitude and respect. Humans were not just warriors, they were protectors, teachers, and allies. Kalor approached, placing a hand on Lyra's shoulder. We survived. Because of them. Because of humans. I have never seen such courage or skill. Lyra nodded, her eyes reflecting the distant glow of the departing Draxian ships. Today we learned something important. We learned that no matter how far, no matter how hopeless, help can come. And when it comes from humans, it is unstoppable. The civilians emerged from shelters, cheering for their liberators. They surrounded the human soldiers, offering thanks and gestures of respect. Children ran alongside the humans, curious and unafraid, seeing in them the embodiment of hope. Admiral Marcus Hale addressed both human and coalition forces via holographic projection. Today you all fought with bravery and honor. The Draxians underestimated your courage and unity. Remember this moment. Remember that cooperation and determination can overcome any enemy. You are no longer just survivors. You're champions. Lyra felt tears in her eyes as she turned to Kalor. We called for help, and humans answered, not just with weapons, but with wisdom, courage, and guidance. We will never forget this day. Kalor nodded, a rare smile breaking across his face. No one will. Today, Earth became legend, and we are honored to stand beside them. As the sun rose over Vorlax 7, the planet looked different. The smoke and fire were still present, but they were no longer signs of hopelessness. They were signs of survival, of a new alliance, and of a future where civilizations could rely on one another across the stars. Humans, once underestimated, had proven that they were a force the galaxy could not ignore. The coalition leaders began to plan the rebuilding of their world, guided by the humans' strategies and knowledge. They worked together, alien and human, side by side, repairing cities, restoring energy grids, and training forces for the future. The bond formed in battle was strong, built on respect, courage, and mutual survival. Lyra stood on a hill overlooking the city, watching humans and aliens work together. She felt a deep sense of pride and gratitude. We thought we were abandoned, she whispered. But they came, and they showed us what hope truly is. Far above, the ESF Titan and the human fleet remained in orbit, watching over Vorlax 7. The galaxy had witnessed the arrival of humans, their power, their strategy, and their heart. And any who dared to threaten peace again would know that Earth's fiercest fleet would not allow injustice to thrive. For the first time in generations, the coalition felt truly safe. Not because the Draxians were gone, but because humanity had arrived. And where humans went, hope followed. And so Vorlax 7 began to rebuild. The cities, though scarred, stood as monuments to resilience. The people, inspired by human courage, were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. And across the galaxy, the legend of Earth's warriors spread, reminding every world that when humans fight for justice, no enemy is too powerful, no battle too hopeless, and no hope too distant.